Can Jorge Masvidal beat Usman in a rematch? The narrative in the MMA world seems to be that if Masvidal had a full training camp, that he could beat Usman. But here at Kill or Be Killed MMA, we keep it real. And this fight, let's face it guys, it was total domination. Yes, Masvidal has the edge in the striking, but the fight pretty much looked like Nunes versus GDR. GDR was better on the feet. Nunes knew what to do and handled business by taking it to the ground. But even worse, because not only can Usman control Masvidal in the grappling department, but also in the clinch, where Masvidal was thought to have the advantage. But on top of that, guys, Masvidal is going to need to pack on a bunch of muscle to deal with the massive strength advantage of Usman. They didn't even look like they were in the same weight class. I thought to myself, is a lightweight facing a heavyweight? Damn, man. Masvidal's leg kicks weren't working. He was just getting taken to the ground with those. He had no answers in the grappling, even though he himself is a high-level grappler. Usman basically Khabib'd his way into a W. This fight, you gotta admit, was a little boring, but you gotta give Usman the credit here because he executed the perfect game plan. Not only that, but another smart decision was that he moved his training camp to Colorado to train with Trevor Wittman and new teammate Justin the Highlight Gaethje. It's gonna take a lot more than being a BMFer or an absolute dog to beat Usman. That's just not enough. Someone really needs to have it all to be in that top tier that Usman sits at. This fight answered many questions. Can any holes in Usman's game be exploited with a straight up assassin and veteran like Jorge Masvidal? The answer is no. Usman is much like a Terminator, guys. Brute strength, his chin, his skill level, his cardio are a problem to anyone in that division. He has a huge gas tank on top of being big. Come on. He's a huge welterweight. Guys, it's going to take a very special man, and I think the best guy out there to give Usman a run for his money is Gilbert Burns. I'm a huge Masvidal fan, but man, is he gonna need more than just conditioning to face Usman again. So prior to the fight, Masvidal had some beef with Phil Daru, who apparently is a former strength and conditioning coach at American Top Team. It makes me wonder though, maybe he could have used Phil's help, because he has been helping Junior Dos Santos, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and so forth. Joanna having an insane gas tank, and she's a high output fighter. So you kind of have to give Phil some credit there. I still would say that the biggest advantage in fighting MMA is technical skill, but man, does it count to have strength and a gas tank. Let's face it, some of the biggest fights have been won just because of a cardio advantage. So Jorge, come on, man. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. Not like you're the type to listen anyway. But as far as I can see, I'd like to see you pack on some muscle and just work on that cardio, because obviously you got the skill level to do this. But everyone seems to be letting Jorge Masvidal skate with the excuse of 6 days notice. But come on, guys, we all know Masvidal is no idiot. That guy has been training. That guy trains. He lives and breathes training. You never hear him talking about side businesses or side hustles and whatnot. That guy's at the gym. His confidence doesn't come from thin air. That guy, he comes in confident for a reason, because he knows what he's doing. He just bit off a little bit more than he can chew with Usman. Being in the octagon with Usman shocked the hell out of Masvidal. He downplays it really good. He's really good at psyching himself out to making himself think, I got this. There's no way that I'm quitting, and that's admirable. He's got a lot of mental strength in there. But you could see in his face that he was a little bit surprised that his bag of tricks weren't working. Usman had an answer for everything. If this were a boxing match, Usman might have been in trouble. But it's not a boxing match. It's MMA. I was rooting for Masvidal in there, and I'm still rooting for him now. He's an amazing fighter, but man, Usman cannot be denied at this point. Shutting down Woodley, shutting down Colby, now dominating Masvidal? Come on. A lot of people don't want to say that he got dominated in there, but it's because he took 6 days notice and everyone gives him props. I get it. So do I. So yeah, this fight overall was pretty boring, but let's face it, if any of us were in Usman's shoes, we do the exact same thing. Because what do people remember in the long run? That's right, a W next to your name. As for the UFC and Dana White, it's a win-win for them. Before, Jorge was in this position to ask for way more money, but without that welterweight title around his waist and getting dominated by the champ, the UFC squeezed out all those juicy pay-per-view buys using Jorge's star power while having better negotiating power against Jorge. So it's safe to say that everybody won here, including Jorge. Jorge is still a massive star in the UFC, but there's no denying that star power dimmed a little bit with a loss like that. It wasn't necessarily a devastating loss, but it was a convincing loss. At the very least, Masvidal didn't take much damage at all, so I can't wait to see what's next for him. I'd like to see him fight Leon Edwards next, since they have a good backstory with that altercation after the Masvidal versus Till fight in England. But much respect to both of these elite fighters. Both are amazing fighters, there's no doubt about that. Sometimes when you have two great fighters, you just get a boring match. Kind of makes no sense, and it kind of does make sense. Because, they cancel each other out. Except for this time, they didn't cancel each other out. As Coach Shelton Harrison would say, that's just the way that is. And you know what? I am not interested in seeing a rematch here, guys. Not at all. It's going to be the same fight, I guarantee it. I'm very much looking forward to Usman versus Burns. Now that's the fight to make. Two teammates who know each other up and down. This is interesting, guys. People criticize this fight because they call this I don't know, what do they call this fight? Just, everybody wanted to see Jorge Masvidal versus Usman. But now that those questions have been answered, I think all eyes are on Burns right now. The way Burns handled Woodley, it was kind of identical to Woodley versus Usman. That was insane. Sadly, the best thing that's happened to the welterweight division is Woodley not being champion anymore, and that sucks because I'm a Woodley fan. I still believe in that guy. I just, it's just competition gets harder, the sport evolves, and that's just the way that goes, guys. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll check you guys out in the next video.